I had no idea what boundaries were. I always felt like an outcaster. I always felt like there was no place for me. I did whatever it took to make everyone happy that I denied myself. Not everyone is deserving of my love. Not everyone is deserving of having access to my intimate space. What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of The Grind. I'm your host, Lilliana Matos, and the purpose of this podcast is just to build motivation, healing, and for those entrepreneurs or people just going through the trenches of life while keeping God at the center of it all. So today, I want to talk about a topic which didn't really resonate with me until recently: boundaries. So, I didn't know what boundaries were. In fact, when I did my first therapy session recently, about 6 months ago, I sat down with my therapist for the first time and I was just unloading. And he said to me, "I figured it out." I was like, "Yeah, you have no boundaries." "What do you mean I don't have boundaries? I have boundaries. I know what boundaries are." I had no idea what boundaries were. I had none. And the reason why I didn't have one is we had to peel back the layers, guys. It resonated from my childhood. I am an only child of both parents. My parents are older. I have a dad that's 80. My mom is 68. And I am a product of a second marriage. So they each had families prior to. I have two brothers on my mom's side, one of them being 46 and 45. And then I have two siblings on my dad's side. Both of them, one's about to be 50 and the other one is in their 50s. So I'm a 36-year-old woman. So I pretty much got raised alone and they got raised together. And because they got an entire childhood with just the two of them on both sides, I always felt like an outcaster. I always felt like there was no place for me. I always felt like they didn't really accept me because I was a product of a two-parent household and they had to deal with life only with one parent. And I was a decade or two younger than them. So I grew this understanding of wanting to people please because I wanted so badly to be accepted. I wanted to be accepted by my siblings. I wanted to be accepted by everyone around me. And I did whatever it took to make everyone happy that I denied myself. And recently, going through therapy, I learned what boundaries are. And I started to create them within my business, within my personal life. Guys, but there just isn't one boundary. There's five different boundaries. And I'm going to read them here for you today. So there are 5 boundaries that you guys have to consider. There's physical boundaries, there's sexual boundaries, there's intellectual boundaries, and there's emotional boundaries and financial boundaries. So these are all different styles of boundaries that you should be mindful of. When you're discussing physical boundaries, it's, when people touch you, when they hug you, when they kiss you, those are all physical boundaries. If you're a highly affectionate person, maybe being more open to accepting those types of physical touches. However, maybe you're not that person. Maybe you're just a person that loves your personal space. And if you are that, you need to be clear on what that looks like so that people can respect them. The second one being your sexual boundaries. Having true communication with whoever your partner is and creating those boundaries. If you don't like certain things, if you do like certain things, I think that's just an organic way of just really creating a boundary on your likes and dislikes with that privileged person that you share this intimacy with. A lot of people just go through life just having intercourse with human beings without even discussing likes, dislikes, what the type of environment they want to create, which to me, it's pretty sad. Third one is an intellectual boundary. Having someone that really understands you intellectually or only aligning yourself with people that can grasp the level of understanding of concepts that you have, Me, for instance, I consider myself a highly intellectual woman. I don't necessarily like to align myself in business and in friendship with people that can't think like me, with people that can't understand depth of a conversation and really being cognitive and understanding higher level thinking. And I've created a boundary around that. If I speak with you and you cannot understand basic foundational values, then you and I are not aligned. And maybe we're not destined to be friends, and that's okay. Before I used to just hold on to these friendships because I was scared that they would be mad at me, or I was scared that, of rejection or what they would think. And then I would develop this bad reputation. But now I've gotten into an understanding of it's okay. Like, they're not my people. Maybe they're someone else's people, and my people will find me. And thank God I already have a good, solid people. You guys know who you are. I love you guys. We laugh, we joke, but we also have a keen intellectual understanding. So I appreciate that. The next one is emotional boundaries, is being able to share your feelings with the people around you, your people in business, and not be judged, right? And them being able to accept your feelings and accept and understand where you're coming from. I think a lot of times people get into heated arguments. I'm a firm believer there's no reason to argue. There's absolutely not one reason in this universe why should two human beings elevate their voices at each other. I think that everything can be discussed. If you're feeling emotional about something, being able to communicate with that other human being about your emotions intellectually. And if you are a person that arouses that side of me, that brings out that side of me that I do not like to become, then unfortunately, we can no longer be in business. We can no longer be friends because we lack respect for one another, and you are not emotionally compatible to me. So I think understanding emotional boundaries is very keen for your business and your personal life and your financial boundary. You need to understand how to manage your money better. This is also a way to honor God, right? People that mismanage their money typically don't really have great things coming their way. Understanding to say no to the things that you don't necessarily need. Understanding to tell other people no when they want you to spend the money that you don't necessarily want to spend, and not forcing you to spend the money that you don't want to. So, financial boundary is super important. With that being said, guys, boundaries in business is 100% one of the biggest things that you can create for yourself and in your personal life. It's understanding what your business looks like. It's understanding what you're striving to do and become, and saying no to everything else, and being okay with rejection, and being okay with the slight hiccups, and having people that support you around you is key. Recently, I decided to take on a different journey when it involved alcohol, and I called up on my friends and was like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I hope that you can support me. And all of them, without a doubt, said, yes, we got you. But if you have something in your life that you want to do, maybe you are trying to strive to be sober, or maybe you have a discipline within your schedule that you're trying to create, and you should be around people that respect your boundaries. Maybe you want to get up at 5 in the morning, but it's, 12 o'clock at night, and you want to part, and you should have friends that are supporting you and colleagues that are supporting you, say, all right, good night, and not guilt trip you for wanting you to stay. Also, with that being said, with alcohol, if you're deciding to be sober, having a group of people that support you and are allowing you to stay true to your journey and what you want to do. And if these people aren't supporting you, then maybe they're not your people. Maybe it's time to look for a different tribe. But it's also really important to create boundaries within your schedule, to create boundaries with your discipline with God. For me, I've made it a non-negotiable to go to church every Sunday, and I tend to try not to deviate from that plan. And I honor that time. And even though I'm a realtor and we typically do business on the weekends, I make sure that my clients and the people that I'm in business with understand, like, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it at that time because I have to go to church. And thankfully, the people that I have been in business with and the people that I do have as clients understand that, and they support that. And at times they even like really honor that, and they're excited about the fact. Before, I used to be scared to tell people that I had to go to church and I couldn't go show them houses in the middle of the morning because I had church. And I realized I was feeling empty, and I just wasn't honoring that side of me. With that being said, in my personal life too, I didn't have any boundaries as well. I literally would jump into my relationships and allow them to steer, and had zero boundaries. Whatever they wanted to do, whenever they wanted to do it, I was just there. I would literally put myself second to the things that they wanted to do, and I wouldn't honor the disciplines and the results and the things that I wanted to be consistent in because I wanted to make sure that they were happy in their spaces. But now I understand the importance of having a boundary and the importance of showing up for yourself. It got so bad that I wasn't healthy. I wasn't healthy also with my work. I didn't go to the gym. I didn't wake up early. I was eating at all hours of the night and I gained almost 25 pounds. I didn't even recognize myself because I was just lost in the minutia of work, that I didn't honor or create a boundary for loving myself. And I think that's really important in knowing when to detach and when to honor yourself so that you can be the best version of yourself, so that you yourself are a boundary, right? And that's one of the highest forms of love, is just being able to stay disciplined and true to the things that you promised yourself, right? And that's really important. And even in the Bible, guys, this is a biblical message. Boundaries are talked about in the Bible. In the story of in Nehemiah 4:6, it talks about how he was creating a wall to create a boundary from the other cities attacking them. But in that same notion, he was creating a spiritual boundary as well. There's a scripture that says, I am doing great work and I cannot come down. Why should the work stop while I leave it and come down to you? Nehemiah in this message says, I have a mission and I won't let anything or anyone pull me away from it. It's a reminder that boundaries aren't just about keeping both things out, but also about protecting what is good and necessary within. It's about protecting your space. And that to me is really important as well. Not everyone deserves access to your energy. Not everyone deserves access to the most intimate sides of you. And just knowing when to draw the line is also really important as well. Recently, I had to sever ties with a friend because I just felt really unsafe around them. Every time I was intimate with them, I just felt like there was some disingenuous vibes. There was just, my heart didn't feel protected. And I'm a very vulnerable, loving human being. Like, when you are in my circle and you're my friend, I want to love you from the rooftops. I support you wholeheartedly. I'm a big lover. And what I've learned is not everyone is deserving of my love. Not everyone is deserving of having access to my intimate space. And through therapy, I learned that I also have to protect me. I have to protect the people that's around me. And unfortunately, I had to sever ties with this human being because of the anxiousness that I would feel, how unprotected I felt when I was around them, how I didn't know if they were going to misconstrue my words, how I didn't know if they were just using my energy for their own gain. And God revealed to me that this person just wasn't a person that I needed to have in my life. And honestly, when I listened in and I gained in and I didn't lean on the spirit of scarcity or rejection or limited myself to just not honoring what my needs were, it was the best decision for me. I felt a weight come off of me. I felt uplifted. I felt like I made the right decision. And I think that was the first time in my life that I actually stood up for myself, that I actually was very clear as to what my expectations were and how I had to sever this tie in order to honor me, to honor the human being and create a safe space for what I was dealing with and how I needed to heal. So, guys, today I challenge you to look around, think about all of your boundaries, think about what that looks like. Maybe take a second and write it all down. Take a moment and just analyze and just reconfigure who's in your circle. Who do you need to maybe sever ties with so that you can have a more safer organic space? What type of disciplines are you going to create in your life so that you can honor your goals, so that you can stay committed and true to who you are, and so that you can show yourself love more, and so that you can honor God more? So, I'm going to leave you guys with that thought. Thank you guys again so much for watching and yet another episode. Again, if you love this YouTube channel, please go ahead and subscribe, like this video, leave a comment about something that stood out to you, that inspired you, that you're going to take on with you throughout the week, and share it with a friend or maybe even your Instagram. Appreciate you guys for watching. Until next time.